embrace, unique. Spencer and Kuehn, fine jewelry studio, embrace, unique. Spencer and Kuehn, fine jewelry studio, embrace, unique.
I believe getting feedback, but here I am. I'm John Kuehn. I'm the Kuehn part of Spencer and Kuehn. I've started in the jewelry business back in the 1970s. That's like prehistoric. And I've been in different phases of the jewelry business, but now we are in the high point of Spencer and Kuehn, which is a lot of new and different stuff. But anyway, what I'm here today is to discuss several parts of the jewelry business and diamonds and jewelry repairs and little helpful hints. So I'm going to do a series of these. And the first one I'm going to do is discuss how diamonds are mined. Diamonds are mined in diamond mining. In olden days is not a environmentally happy thing. Basically, diamonds were formed a mile, 90 million years ago. The entire Earth was full of volcanoes. It was, nothing could live in that area. But down deep in the ground, there was heat, and then amazing heat and temperature and pressure, and diamonds are formed, and then they come up in the volcanoes and then fall down, and then over time erosion of these mountains meant it was flat. And if you can see this, after 60 or 80 million years it flattens out due to erosion, and the ground is flat. But where the diamonds were formed in each area under each volcano was what we call a diamond pipe. In other words, diamonds are formed 5 miles deep. It takes about 2,000 degrees, 1.5 million pounds a square inch of pressure, and the diamonds are churning and bubbling and stuff like that down there. And then as it gets hotter and hotter, it forces the magma up this pipe into the volcano. But what's left after the erosion is this pipe in the ground. Now, if you can see this, this pipe is not a, if this is the ground, it's hard to estimate the scope of this. It's a mile wide, a mile in diameter, and it's 5 miles deep. So this hole is a very narrow, long hole, but a mile in diameter is so huge it's hard to imagine. It's like the city that you're in, the whole city you're in, all the way down. And this, the rock that's formed from these diamonds, and as the diamonds are formed, the rock is called kimberlite, and it's sort of like granite. So think about a big granite pole sunk into the ground. And when I say big, it's, you got to imagine 1 mile in diameter and 5 miles deep. That is, there's no hole that deep anywhere that I know of. Anyway, to mine this, so all of a sudden, this pipe is full of diamonds. When I say full of diamonds, it's about 1 carat per ton. So in 1 ton of diamonds, there might be 1/10 of a carat, or there might be 3 carats, and there might be small pieces or large pieces. But the interesting thing, when diamonds are formed, they need 2,000 degrees and 1.5 million pounds per square inch of pressure, but they need that for an extended time. For a little bit of time, you get a tiny speck of a diamond. But for a carat, a 1 carat diamond, it takes about a week of that temperature and pressure. Bigger diamonds more, so it could be a month of that constant temperature and pressure to get a really big diamond. So anyway, and millions of years ago, it would stay for a long time down there. But you don't know, depending on the changes in temperature and pressure. But anyway, in order to mine these diamonds, you got to dig down and dig out all that rock. And think about a pillar of granite and digging it out. You can't just dig into it because you can't get it. You have to go side. You have to dig it in by the side. So if you can see this, they would first cut down into the ground on each side. And this is about 2-3 miles wide. But then they were able to dig up into this pillar of granite, of kimberlite. And once they pulled it out, they have machines that would grind it up. So they would get a big chunk, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, maybe 4 feet by 4 feet, and they would chop it down to 1 inch by 1 inch. And when it gets small, then the diamonds come out after it's ground up. And I guess they hurt a lot of diamonds that way, but there's no easy way to do this. So the first thing they do is they dig down, and this is probably oh wow, this is several hundred feet. But then when you dig that out, you have to dig down more, and then more, and more. And in order to dig out the whole thing, you have to dig a hole this large all the way down to here in order to get it out over here. So it leaves a hole in the ground that is, get ready for this, 20 miles wide. Diamond mine, as I said, environmentally, you have to dig a 20-mile wide hole to get all of the diamonds out of this diamond pipe. And that's a nightmare. They did it in South Africa. And if you've seen pictures, look it up. It's really horrible because this hole, a 20-mile wide hole, is bigger than the Grand Canyon and deeper than the Grand Canyon. In fact, I think you could put 4 or 5 Grand Canyons in there. But then there's one other minor thing that you forget about when you see this is, where are you going to put all the stuff? So all this stuff needs, and it's painful to say it, but it needs a 20-mile wide mountain 5 miles high, or somewhere to throw it, and because you don't need it anymore. So if you see the devastation in South Africa, now there's more. South Africa had the most notable example of this. So it's a mess. But now there are diamonds. These diamond mines are pretty much mined out, and in Australia there's new diamond mining. And in Canada, there's new diamond mining in the last 20 years, 30 years. And a few other places, they've found mines, but they're not as vicious as this to get it out. And I'm not sure if they'll get better technology, but it's a matter of you got to dig it out. And that's the story of how diamonds are mined. And in fact, if you want to go see a diamond mine, you can't see it, it's underground, but in Murfreesboro, Arkansas, they have exactly this. There's a diamond pipe there. And it's the 10th largest diamond pipe ever found in the world. So there's billions of dollars in diamonds under Murfreesboro, Arkansas. And you can go there. It's called the Crater of Diamonds, and you can actually dig in the dirt. And I think once every 3 or 4 days, 5 days, a month, they have somebody finds a cuttable diamond, a diamond that they can actually use. So you can go there and dig, but then they're only digging on this top surface, 8 or 10 feet deep. You can't dig into the granite, but there's dirt there, and it's a mile wide, so there's plenty of stuff. And there's diamonds in there that are very common. And if you ever want to make a fun trip, if you don't mind digging all day, you can have fun. Anyway, that's a story of how diamonds are mined. And tune in a little bit, and I'll discuss lab created diamonds versus these diamonds. So it's time for 17 commercials, and I'll be right back to you.
Embrace unique. Spencer and Kuehn, fine jewelry studio. Embrace unique. Spencer and Kuehn, fine jewelry studio. Embrace unique.
Oh, it looks like I'm back. I hear feedback, but I think I'm back. They tell me when I'm back, and then I'm back. Am I back? Yes. Okay. Now, if you weren't totally bored by how diamonds are mined, lab diamonds. This is a very big innovation in the field of diamond jewelry. Lab diamonds versus natural diamonds. Basically, I explained earlier that diamonds are formed deep underground, because deep underground in the base of volcanoes, 5 miles deep, you get this high temperature and pressure, 2,000 degrees, 1.5 million pounds per square inch. For a week or two can form a facetable diamond. So they knew that, geologists knew that, and so everybody thinks, well, if we can make them. Now, actually, GE has been making diamonds for 30, 40 years, for a long time, but they've never been able to get facetable diamonds. They just get little chips that they can use in industrial uses. And they've been doing that. So it was only recently that they actually are now investing and making equipment that can actually make facetable gem quality diamonds. I think it's about 15, 20 years ago they first started, maybe less, 10 or 15 years ago. Anyway, they now have equipment that can make facetable diamonds. And when I say they're synthetic diamonds means real diamonds. No difference between these chemically and crystallographically between man-made and natural. I cannot tell the difference with normal magnification, with a jeweler's loupe or my eye, between a natural or a lab diamond. I can tell with various pieces of equipment. We have equipment that you just touch to it, and it can determine whether it's lab or natural. But if you by looking at it, no one can tell. It'll scratch glass. Of course, all the fake scratch glass now anyway. But there's no difference. But if I start with a little history, the first time in the history of the planet that they invented a lab stone was with rubies. Up until about 1900, they could have equipment in those days that could make lab grow a ruby with high pressure and temperature, but they didn't have enough technology to do a diamond. But they started making rubies in around 1900. And in 1900, up until then, you could only have glass or a real ruby in a ring, and glass did not hold up. So in the beginning, when they first came out with lab rubies, though the elite jewelers and the population said, oh, we need to get these. They're great. You can't tell the difference, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody put these synthetic lab-grown rubies in jewelry, in fine jewelry. And then what happened, however, is they got better and better at making them, and they became less and less expensive. So today, when you see a lab-grown ruby in a ring, and you can tell with conventional means also the difference between a lab-grown ruby and a natural ruby, that they went from a high value down to very low value. Now, a ruby that's $20,000 in a ring, a real ruby, you can get a lab-grown ruby for a couple $100 or less. And there's other substitutes, but a true lab-grown ruby is much less expensive. So now that brings us to lab-grown diamonds. So now they're lab-growing diamonds and putting it in all sorts of jewelry. They're very popular. And as I said, you cannot tell the difference. But I warn people and that, yes, they are a diamond. They'll last forever, just like your regular diamond. But 50 years from now, they're going to see a ring with a lab-grown diamond and test it. And a regular diamond say, oh, this is just a synthetic lab-grown. So the value, let's talk about value. 10 or 15 years ago, when they first came out with lab-grown diamonds that were facetable and good quality, they were hugely expensive. A 1 carat diamond today is $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, depending on the quality. A 1 carat lab, when they first came out, was actually more than that because the technology was new. But then they got better technology, and they had more and more factories that built this up, primarily in China, by the way. There are many sources of lab diamonds in China, and they have the technology to make them. So they are getting better and bigger over the last 10 or 15 years, but there are also many people making them. So the lab diamonds are cheaper and cheaper. 5 years ago, a $8,000 or $9,000 diamond equivalent in lab was $6,000, $7,000. So you save 20, 30%. Then 3 or 4 years ago, they are half of a natural diamond in their cost. So they keep going down. In fact, the other day that I saw this you can get a lab-grown diamond for about 10%, 5 to 10% of a natural diamond. So an $8,000 diamond, an $8,000 1 carat natural diamond, you can get a lab diamond for $600, $700, $800. And if we go into the future, I have no reason to think that it won't even get lower. So there's a lot of fun you can have making jewelry with lab diamonds, as long as you know they're not an investment, whereas a natural diamond would be. So that's my discussion. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say about them, except I'm waiting till they get even cheaper. And then we're going to make all sorts of fun jewelry that people can have fun with, like a massive 4 carat, all that stuff we can have fun with. So that's my discussion of lab versus natural. And tune in back in, and I'm going to talk about how your prongs wear down over time in rings and what to do about them. So I'll be back.
Embrace unique. jewelry studio. Embrace unique.
Here I am.
Okay. I'm John Kuehn, the second half of Spencer and Kuehn, and we have Spencer and Kuehn Fine Jewelry Studio, where we make all the jewelry that we put out in our cases. So we are a very technological company. We use techniques that were used 1,000 years ago, and we use techniques that have just been invented recently, like we use a lot of laser equipment. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about prongs. When almost all jewelry you get today, if it has a stone in it, it's got to hold it in there somehow. And there's different kinds of prongs. But what I want to mainly show you is what to be careful of, or what to notice in the prongs of your engagement ring, and how that works. Basically, I'm going to first draw the side view of a diamond. And this is what a side view of a diamond looks like. And it'll, of course, have facets. And, okay, very decorative. If I put in some colors, it'd be an oil painting. But anyway, a prong, something has to hold that in a ring, and without hurting it and being very, very strong. So what usually we have is a prong that'll look like this in the ring. And so all of this is metal, and it covers up the stone. Basically, we start out with, see if I can do it on this side, the prong looks like this, and we cut a groove in it so it fits the diamond, and then we bend the prong over it and then smooth it out, and that's what you get. Now, let me draw this again, and I'll show you what it looks like after. All right, first I'll show you a good one. Again, you saw this, but after a period of years, and I get people in that bring me a ring like this, it'll look like this. So what's holding it in? Almost nothing is holding it in. And over where it'll come up, you'll feel sharpness and scratch, and that if you get 2 or 3 of them, wears down like that, the diamond will fall out. So you must keep watching your prongs. If you can't see this nice lump over the top, you're in danger. And so how do we fix that? 1, we could do a new prong, or 2, we could do what's called retipping, where we melt a glob of gold over here, and guess what? We wind up with this again. So that's how we repair a prong. But what you need to look at is, let's see, you need to look for is if you have on your diamond a prong that's, let's say, sticking up like this, that'll catch on things. If you pull that open, bye-bye diamond. So you really want, if once you get a ring, when you get a diamond ring and you're wearing it, everything is normal. But if you feel it catching on things, especially clothing, immediately bring that in, because that's the first sign that something's wrong, because a prong is sticking up. Now, it could be the way it was set and you're fine. It'll be fine. But we need to look at it to be sure, because you really don't want to lose it. So have your prongs checked every year, whether you need to or not. And we don't charge anything, and we'll tell you what good shape you're in. In fact, I was going to combine this with something. I was going to make a separate presentation of the difference between platinum and gold, but I should combine this now, because I recommend to people to get platinum prongs rather than white gold, because platinum is weird stuff. Platinum, it doesn't, okay, if I took a diamond ring and I took a piece of paper And here's the ring. And it went like this. Paper is very abrasive stuff. If I went like this for an hour on a white gold ring, guess what? I'm going to wear that prong. And we wear it every day. You get a little paper here and there. In fact, people that handle a lot of paper, their rings wear out more than others. And people that have abrasive occupations do. I once had a guy who was a bricklayer. He came in and he got a plain wedding band. He came in once every 2 years to get a new wedding band because his old one actually wore down to nothing. But anyway, where was I? Platinum versus gold. Platinum, if I rubbed all day on platinum, it's not even going to do any kind of wear at all. So platinum is very resistant to wear. It's a little softer than diamond. So you have to get thicker prongs, but it can bend easier. But when you get thick prongs, they don't bend. But platinum prongs your grandchildren will be wearing that ring. Whereas white gold prongs, 5 to 10 years, and they need to be worked on. Platinum is another strange thing, is that it's heavier, it's more dense than gold. So it's a fun stuff. But a platinum ring is twice as expensive as a gold ring. But that's not due to the nature of in a way it is. In gold, 14 karat gold, 14/24 of the weight of the gold ring is gold. Whereas platinum, 90% of it is platinum, and 10%, the other 10% is, what is that? The other 10% is iridium, which is another hard metal that's actually more expensive than platinum. So a platinum ring, platinum prongs are more expensive, platinum rings are more expensive than gold rings, but they will outlast for significantly. But unfortunately, no, the budget doesn't permit it in many cases. But platinum is strange, weird, fun stuff, and it's heavier. And whereas comparing platinum to white gold, okay, let me get into alloying for a second. 14 karat gold is 14/24 pure. The other stuff in that ring is meant to harden it and change its color. So white gold, you add silver, zinc, white metals to the pure gold, and that makes it white. If you added copper and less white metals, it keeps it yellow. So, and then 18 and 22 karat are yellower yet. But anyway, back to the percentages is that gold again is all platinum is all platinum, and then gold has different levels of pure gold in it. But but platinum has interesting changes in it, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say about it.
White gold instead of yellow gold.
Oh, okay. Charlotte just helped me out here. Is that in white gold, when you have a ring in white gold and prongs in white gold, over time they get when they're brand new and not polished, they have a little tint of yellow in them because you can't get rid of all the yellow. Pure gold is very, very yellow, and the alloy gets rid of most of it, but there's a little tinge of yellow gold which bothers some people. So we have to rhodium plate it. Now, rhodium is a very hard metal which we put a fine plating on, which is almost very little actual metal, but it puts a covering over your white gold and makes it look white, like platinum. So every year or two, if it bothers you, we rhodium plate it and it looks new, and then it'll wear off due to wear. Whereas if you have a platinum ring, you never have to do that because it's white forever. So there it is, platinum versus gold, and prongs, and their repair. So that does it for that. And in a minute or two, after we'll talk about the cuts of diamond. So tune in. Maybe. I'm still here.
jewelry studio. Embrace unique. Spencer and Kuehn, fine jewelry studio. Embrace unique.
Okay, here I am again, and we're going to talk about the cuts of diamond. Now, not in this case, but in another presentation, I'll show you how diamonds are cut. The term cut is the term we all use, but they're not cut. You don't cut a diamond. I mean, it's like a knife won't do it. The cutting is really polishing and grinding. So to make a diamond, you take an uncut diamond and you grind it in various ways, and you slice it. You sometimes saw them in half. They used to saw them in half. Now they use a laser. But anyway, once you cut a diamond and pass it and it's in a ring, then you I don't know see where my hand is. Once it's in a ring, different cuts. Okay, we know about clarity, which has to do with inclusions in the bone in the diamond. Color, which has to do with whether it's white or yellow, and cut. We always say the 4 C's. Cut is the one. And now, what cut means in this context is proportion. And I'm going to draw this. Let's see if I do it like this. It might be better. Okay. First, I'm going to draw from a side view an ideal cut diamond. Then I want to draw a shallow diamond that looks the same, but it's half the weight. And then a deep cut diamond. Now, I tell people when they're shopping for diamonds online and they're basing it on color and clarity, it's like shopping for a girlfriend based on blonde hair and blue eyes. There's a big difference in a large area of differences if you just look at those two things. And the reason that the most important variation that comes about is the cut of the diamond after you're done with clarity and color. And cut means light goes in the diamond, and if it doesn't come out, the best cut diamond, light goes in, bounces around in there, and then comes out. The more that comes out, the more sparkle. If it doesn't come out, then the diamond doesn't look that good. So let's look first at this shallow diamond. Light goes in here, comes right through the bottom, and this will look like a piece of glass. Now down in this diamond, the deep one, it'll go into here and it'll bounce off here and go out here. And this diamond will look really dark. It won't have brightness. But an ideal cut diamond, light comes in, bounces off here, and it comes out again as sparkle and brilliance. It all has to do with these angles. This is the critical angle. And if those these angles weren't paid attention to during the cutting process, and you get a deep stone or a shallow stone, it's going to look terrible compared to this one, which knocks your eyes out. In fact, I hear at Spencer and Kuehn, we specialize in a diamond that has more sparkle than even that one, because a normal ideal cut, this would be ideal, cut diamond has 58 facets. The star 129 has 129 facets. So this would be, let's see, this is a normal 58 facet diamond. Let's see if it looks better without and it's ideal cut. From the side, it looks like the top one. So this diamond, it knocks your socks off. But we have a variation of this called the star 129, which instead of having 58 facets, it has 129 facets. So it has all these extra facets on the bottom, and it knocks your socks off this one. So people, I had a girl that bought one of these a while ago, and she said, I went to Lowe's, and the people stopped her. They said, what is that diamond? It sparkles. I can see it from a mile away. So I love that when people come back to me and tell me how popular that is. But I should explain a little about the cutting process too. Is this cuts the proportions, but facets are the important thing. Once you get the proportions right, the faceting is important. And the way that's done is it's part of the cutting process. But again, it's not cutting, it's grinding and polishing. So think about a record player, a phonograph record. I guess 20% of the people listening to this have heard of that. It'll have it looks like a black thing turning, and you put a needle on it, and it'll play sound. Well, we have this black thing that turns, and it's impregnated with diamond dust. And just like sandpaper, if it's high grit, the first you take the diamond and you glue it to the end of a stick. That's more technological than that, but that's the basis of it. So the diamond's the end of a stick, and then you lean that stick down on this turning record. And you do that at different times and different angles. And then you do it at the higher grit. So you start out with like 80 grit sandpaper, and you wind up, let's see, if you're using wood, you would go from 80 grit to 400 grit, and it'd be nice and polished. Well, in diamond dust, we go from 80 grit to 50,000 grit. And 50,000 grit gets you a mirror finish that's absolutely perfect. And but anyway, so you put it down on this record, and then you turn it at different angles, and you get your diamond. And but the critical angles make that diamond ideal cut. And all of these could have the same color anymore. Anyway, that's the basis of and wind up with a beautifully cut diamond. And that's it for today. So have a good one. Stop in and see us, and we'll be happy to see what you got. Bring in Grandma's gold and Uncle Charlie's gold chain and diamond ring, and we'll make it into a whole new ring for your 16-year-old granddaughter. So have a great day.